This podcast is sponsored by Tusk, an open source non-ICO crypto project powered by community. Check them out on the web at tusk.network. That's TUSC.network. The Rob McNealy program is the nexus of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and entrepreneurship. Now, welcome to the program. Okay, today we're talking to Joe Vezzani. He is the CEO and founder of LunarCRUSH, which is right now the app that I have the biggest crush on for the crypto world. I'm really excited to talk to him about this. So welcome to the show. Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Rob. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I appreciate you taking time. As someone who's been in the crypto space for a little while, I always like to see the people doing something different in the space. And the other thing that's real interesting about what you're doing here is that you kind of care about UI and UX, which seems to be the one in the crypto sphere. So but before we jump in, why don't we just go and let's learn a little bit about you. Who are you? How'd you get into this space?
Yeah, for sure. Got started pretty similarly, I feel like, to a lot of other people that I hear, talk about crypto is, at some point, someone that or, you kind of just run across Bitcoin. And, I was at the time, it was, probably like late 2014, early 2015. And my now co-founder, John, he just kind of came up to me and we were working together at the time. He's like, hey, do you know what Bitcoin is? And I was like, I don't know. And it was like his eyes lit up, like he got to tell someone new, and learned a little bit about Bitcoin. And, for me, kind of coming out of school with a finance degree, worked in technology and startups before. It was kind of this intersection of finance and tech that I was just like, I need to be a part of this somehow. And then, started looking a little bit more at everything else, and you start to kind of go down the ladder a little bit, and you're like, at the time it was mostly just Bitcoin. There was some other stuff, but you start to figure out like, what's this Ethereum thing and Litecoin, and you start to learn a little bit more, and you're like, wow, there is a lot down this rabbit hole, and I need to learn more about it. And so at that time, we were just kind of going back and forth, and we were the people that everyone was like, hey, what do I buy? What's the next hot tip? And what do I do next? And just kind of got deeper and deeper from there.
Well, I think that's how a lot of us kind of get started with this. I actually haven't been in crypto that long, and people always like, how long you been in here? Like 2 years, 2.5 years, or like, well, how old's your project? 2 years. So we kind of just like jumped right in. But one of the things that I kind of interesting is your app. And I have been like glued to this thing like every day. Like I used to go to like CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and keep hitting refresh, and I don't even go there anymore. I go to LunarCRUSH. So let's talk about LunarCRUSH. What is LunarCRUSH, and why am I personally so addicted to it?
Well, first off, thank you. That's a huge compliment. I appreciate that. And the kind of the addictiveness a little bit is the way we kind of design this, and the way we think about experience and people coming onto our site and looking at everything is we're very focused on that design and getting people to understand what's happening very easily, even for people that aren't into the crypto space yet, but are kind of, like we like to say, crypto curious, and they're starting to dive in. We wanted it to be simple. And inherently our market in this space is very community driven. And a lot of these projects, especially in the altcoin, it's kind of tribal, and people are out there posting and they're talking about what's happening in the community. And, we capture that, and we're looking at across the entire market. We're looking at things like Twitter and Reddit, any sort of news URL that's out there, any link, and we're pulling all that together. And so you're really feeling what's happening in real time when you're on our site, and you're understanding not just Bitcoin, but everything else, and what the community is saying at this exact moment. And so it's a really amazing kind of feeling to get out there and really kind of see the heart and the pulse of the market. And I think it's what people have kind of been waiting for a while.
Well, I agree with that. And not only do you have like, normal, statistics about and, measurements about what a coin might be doing from the price perspective and things like that, but you're pulling in all these measurements about in metrics about what the community is saying, almost like sentiment and engagement kind of monitoring. And to me, that's pretty fascinating. What made you think to do that? No one else is doing it that I'm seeing out there. So
Yeah.
why go there?
Well, when you look at kind of the stock markets and you look at equities and you look at what drives value and the prices of these things, it's really earnings. Obviously there's speculative. You can look at Tesla and what's happening right now, and as we record this February 4th, 2020, it's kind of parabolic right now, and it's moving, and that's speculation, and it's about the future growth of that company, and that's what's driving the value. But when you're looking at the kind of broader, when we're talking stock market, it's earnings. I mean, it's literally earnings beats over time is really what pushes these stocks up over time, and that's why those big companies are so focused on that. Where crypto is not like that. It's supply and demand driven. What is the social discourse that's happening? Who's talking about it? How are the communities being grown? It's very different. And so, when we wanted to look at what the community is saying, we wanted to see it in real time, and we wanted to put it, over time, and you kind of see it on our site as more of a graphical time series representation. And so you're really seeing in one place, how did the, Tezos community do over the last 2 months? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? When you're looking at maybe some projects that are a little bit smaller that are up and coming, and you get a tip from a friend and you're like, hey, check this project out. You're going to know real fast whether or not that's kind of a viable project, or is it kind of the beginning or the end of it, by looking at our site.
So how did you come up with some of these algorithms? Are they best guess, or did you benchmark against something? Because you got some interesting, analysis that you have that, these algorithms that are built into it. Where did that come from?
Which ones are you talking about specifically?
I don't have it up in front of me now. See, now you're catching me off guard. I'm going to have to look it up.
So we have a couple proprietary metrics that we've designed. One's called the Galaxy Score, and the other one's called AltRank.
That's it right there. See, you called it. That was the one. I didn't know the name of it. So yes, that's the Galaxy Score. It was on the top of my tongue there.
Yeah, we're very space themed over here. But so Galaxy Score, I can start with first. And, we wanted to kind of create a metric, and it's a real-time metric, and we're looking at things that are coming in constantly. We're not Moody's, or S&P out here and saying that, it's a buy rating, or, it's from a B to a B plus or whatever it is. And, over the next couple of months, this is what's going to happen. Crypto moves too quick for that. And so with Galaxy Score, we're looking at each individual project, and we're looking at its performance against itself over time. And so we're looking at things like we're doing some technical analysis and some price analysis on each project, but then we're also incorporating that project's community and the social that has happened around that project and how quickly it's happening. And so Galaxy Score, like I like to say, is kind of like caution, more advanced traders only, where, that's going to move pretty rapidly. And so we've got people like, bot traders, and we've got, professional traders and people that are using that to look in real time at what's happening. And so it's on a 0 to 100 score, and 100 would be the best. And so it means that there's a lot of kind of social that's happening at that moment along with price. And then the other one is called AltRank. And so AltRank is looking at a project's performance against the rest of the market. And so it's ranking everything from a 1 to, I think right now we've got about 1,700 that we're looking at across the entire market. And so we're pulling in and saying, hey, what is Ethereum's price versus something like Bitcoin over time? And is it beating that? Is it losing against that? And then what is kind of the social that's happening at the same time? And so when you kind of put all that and correlate it together, you really get this kind of cool understanding of the market. And so at any given time, if you're looking at LunarCRUSH and you go to our markets page and you're seeing things, ranked 1 to 25, that means that something's happening right now. Price is moving, social is moving, things are happening, volume is high, market volume is high. And it's somewhere as a trader or someone that's looking at the market, you should really be paying attention to that.
So I'm looking at I'm biased, so I'm looking at the Tusk page on LunarCRUSH. So my Galaxy Score for our project went down since yesterday. It was in the 50s yesterday, which said neutral, but now it's down and it says bearish. So what did we do that went from neutral yesterday to bearish today on the Galaxy score for Tusk?
I'm not looking at it right here, but my guess would be that, if there was a decline in market volume or if there was a decline in price, correlated with also some social volume that's going down, then at least at this moment, when the Galaxy score is updating continuously, that it's a little bit lower. Now, if there's some buys that come through, if there's some social action that happens, if things start to kind of move, that Galaxy score is going to jump pretty quickly. And so, a move from something like in the 40s to something in the 80s per se that should be a blip on the radar to say that something's happening with Tusk.
Gotcha. So, and I know we didn't have any volume yesterday because we're still new and we're only on one exchange. But I'm just curious on how, I'm looking at my own stuff. So, but our alt rank here says we're 864 out of 2046. So it's got a little trophy thing. What does that mean?
So 864, I mean, again, this is looking at Tusk's performance against Bitcoin. So if it's underperforming against something like Bitcoin, and then also, maybe social volume or social engagement is lower, then the alt rank is going to kind of rank there. But, hey, 864 out of 2000, you're still better than 50%. But,
I'll take it.
If Tusk starts to outperform Bitcoin and there starts to be some social that's happening in real time, then, you would see that rank move up really quickly. And, I just want to caveat that we also assign an alt rank to Bitcoin. And the way that you could kind of look at that is if Bitcoin is rallying and is the #1 altcoin or alt rank on LunarCRUSH, it means that, you might want to be in Bitcoin right now because there's rally happening, things are moving.
So there's another section that says about the Tusk. It's over on the right side where it's about the Masari section.
The Masari.
Yep.
So with that section, we don't have anything there. How would I get stuff there?
So we're focused at LunarCRUSH on all the social and the real-time data, and then we're partnering and we utilize Masari's data for some of the more about section. I think Masari does an amazing job of kind of aggregating kind of the, more long-form kind of project-oriented data around the why and what's happening. And so, we pull in some of their data to kind of showcase on our site if people want to kind of dive more into the, who are some of the founders of the project, what is the, what's the blockchain like, what's the algorithm like, how is it working? And so they're kind of focused on that. And so we pull in the data from there to kind of showcase on our site because they do such a good job.
So we need to get on their radar if we want that box filled. So it also says here that our social sentiment is 60% up 3.3% in bullish. So that's a good thing, right? Under the alt right box.
Social sentiment, you're saying?
Yeah, it's right under the alt rank box.
Yep. So social sentiment, anything that is, probably over 50%, we start to kind of categorize as more of a bullish. And so we're looking at some of the data that's out there. And, we've actually trained our own machine learning to look at specifically crypto language out there in the web. And so, when people talk about different projects in our space, they speak about it differently. When someone says, whether they're right or wrong, that, Monero is going to the moon, that's a bullish sentiment, but, a traditionally trained library is not going to pick that up. And so we've actually gone in, and as the data comes in, we're training it and we're looking at it specifically and kind of hand tailoring all of the data to understand, what is the sentiment across some of this.
So it's not just hashtags. You're looking at whole keywords in different terms and how they're used in conjunction with other maybe adjectives or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at, any news that's out there or any social that's out there. And if there's links that are posted within that, we're kind of going and spidering that and looking at the different articles and trying to figure out, was this meant to be something that was more of a positive or more of a negative occurrence?
So where do you see this would apply to other assets, perhaps even like, so you mentioned earlier with like Tesla. It seems like it'd be really interesting now to see some of the sentiment around Tesla because everybody seems to be FOMOing around it right now. Do you think this would apply in the same way to traditional assets like that?
Man, I mean, the FOMO is so high on Tesla, I don't think you even need LunarCRUSH to identify the sentiment on that one. But, Yes, I mean, in a short answer would be that yes, absolutely. We can take in and pull in kind of traditional asset classes and look at it. Our focus has, we're passionate about the crypto space and we want it to grow and we're very focused on it. And so our roadmap right now, at least for the foreseeable future, is focused on cryptocurrency. And we want to see this space grow and we want to see the people and the projects and the companies grow. And so we're completely focused on growing and maintaining our space here.
So how are you guys funded? How did you guys, are you bootstrapping this, or did you get some VC money?
We originally bootstrapped this thing from the beginning. We were, like anyone else, you want to build something from scratch and you want it to be yours. And so we bootstrapped it. We did, in 2019, we joined a Techstars program. So I'm not sure if any of your listeners know, but Techstars is, one of the, best accelerator, startup accelerator.
David Cohen.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So Techstars, we joined the LA program here and did that from July to October. And then we have, some other partnerships with some local venture capitalists here in Los Angeles. One is Draper Goren Home. So they just founded a new venture firm called Draper Goren Home, which is Tim Draper, Alon Goren, and Joseph Home here, who are kind of local, well-known kind of entrepreneurs in the blockchain space.
So what is your revenue model? How are you going to make money with this?
Well, right now we're just growing our business and getting as many people to use it as humanly possible. We're focused on user growth and getting this out to the community. Right now, it's free to get into LunarCRUSH, log in, and kind of see what's happening on there. We also have an API, and we're very shortly going to be coming out with a real-time API. So anyone that's a trader or anyone that's a little bit more advanced quant funds that are out there, we're excited to partner with them and see kind of how they want to utilize some of the data. And so we're just trying to understand the marketplace right now and kind of be out there and see where we have the best fit.
I think it's really good, the way you're kind of pulling the data together in a very visual way. And I think with crypto, that's been such a problem. And I think it's part of the fact that so much of crypto is just developer led, which is, a hardcore command line kind of community, right? And so I think a lot of these guys out there, and as far as the developers go, they just don't really think of UI and graphical user interfaces as being that important sometimes, or at least they, underscore or downplay, how important that is. But the one thing that I like what you're doing, because I'm a very visual person, but visual representations of data can present patterns and trends that you cannot see with just normal tabulature type of data scenarios. And I think that's why you're going to be successful with this, because you're light years ahead on your UI UX compared to anything else that I'm seeing in crypto right now. And I'm excited about where this is going, because to me, this is how you get to adoption. And because you're recognizing, at least it seems like you're recognizing how the design element is important here.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we spend a lot of time and, a lot of thought and strategy and, just going through and trying to put ourselves in our users' shoes. I think it's like when we went to one of those kind of first Blockstack summits at like the Computer History Museum a couple of years ago. And, we were looking around at some of the different projects and we just kind of said to ourselves, it was like, we need to focus on design and we need to focus on usability. And it's such a slight usability change in any industry can have a profound effect. Look at Uber, taxis existed and, people didn't take them. And it was because they didn't want to call, didn't know who to call. They didn't want to pay. They didn't have cash. And so they felt bad to get into a cab and not pay, and they get yelled at. And, the simple, design change of, now I just put my credit card in and it shows up and it's really cool. I see it coming on this little map. That's an extremely, amazing design disruption, and it's simple. And so I think with crypto, it's the same thing where, you've got these these blockchains and you've got these projects out there. And, I think Coinbase has done an amazing job, kind of building that first kind of use case out, and that on-ramp, that fiat on-ramp, especially in the US. And now it's kind of opening the door to these other tools that are out there and getting people deeper. And now it's not just a professional trader that's going to be on here. It's going to be people that are a little bit more novice that don't want to be intimidated. And so if you're not focused on, helping people understand very simply how some of this stuff works, then it's not gonna work. And, even when we originally started, it was, we had 40 different charts on a page, and it was, infinite scroll, and it just kept going and going, and it wasn't working. And it's not until you kind of simplify things and make it easy is to where people start actually using it and understanding.
Well, it's kind of funny the way even web design has changed over the past, 5 years. 10 years ago, you were trying to keep everything above the fold. And then I don't know what happened because I stopped doing web development a long time ago. And then all of a sudden, now everything's infinite scroll. And I'm like, didn't we try to keep everything above the fold for a reason where people didn't have to scroll for usability? So I don't know what changed there, right? But it seems to me that usability is still important, and you want to make people have to work the least amount when they're using your site to get around. And I think you do that. And I really do like the fact that you spent so much time on design. And I think that is going to make this very, very useful. And I can't believe that, some of the big players, as far as the trackers go, how awful their UIs are, or how primitive they are from the design standpoint, considering how much some of these trackers are bringing in revenue. You think they could bring in some design folks and fix that, but maybe they need to bring you in to fix it for them. Joe, where can people find out more about your project?
LunarCRUSH.com is the easiest way. You can also find us on Twitter. We're really active on Twitter. It's just at LunarCRUSH. We're posting, all sorts of insights all day. We have a coin of the day that we post each day, and that's kind of our way to get people in and get people understanding the data for free. So that I would say go to LunarCRUSH.com or just follow us at LunarCRUSH.
Joe, thank you so much. And I do appreciate you coming on the show today, and I wish you all the luck in the future.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Rob McNealy program. Make sure you check us out on the web at robmcnealy.com and subscribe to our podcast at YouTube, iTunes, and on the Google Play Store.